the Goliath, the media, has a spell on the community, because what they hear, you know, what they're getting from the media, you know, this is the right thing to do. If high society or white class supremacy is doing it, this must be authorized for us to do this. So when we go to schools, like you said, I mean, what are we really teaching our kids?
The media, without question, has a profound impact on black people. But I don't think the impact would be as great as it is if the media was not co-signed by the black bourgeoisie. In other words, I think the reason why a lot of our people stand still and don't do anything is because they suffer from intellectual confusion. What do we mean by that? On the one hand, you got us, the conscious community, saying there's no hope for us within the system. The American social order has no tolerance for black people. That's us. But then on the other hand, okay, you got well-placed, well-educated, well-financed Negroes from the church, the political front, the business front, and within the media, the Oprahs, the Tom Joyners, so forth and so on, who are saying don't listen to them. They're just mad because they didn't make it because of their own shortcomings. You don't have to do anything independent. You don't need your own schools. You don't need your own businesses. What you need to do is improve your values, your discipline, and get a better education. So the reason why the educated masses don't move is because they're not sure where they should be moving to. They're hearing two conflicting arguments. And what happens when you have two conflicting arguments? It's like if you go to one doctor and this doctor says you need surgery to fix your problem. You go to another doctor, he says you don't need surgery. You just need this medication. But you're suffering from a life-altering condition. What are you going to do? You're going to pause and stop and contemplate back and forth between what the two experts are telling you to do. And until you decide which one of them you think is correct, you do nothing. That's black people. We are in an intellectual tug-of-war between the conscious folk and the sellouts. The problem is that the sellouts look successful, okay? And by American standards, they are. So the average black person in the hood is going to follow their lead. Now, they might listen to me, but why? Because I got 6 degrees. In other words, I could be in that world, but chose not to. But by and large, they're going to listen to the voice that appears to be the most successful. And that's why I think the black bourgeoisie is probably one of the most dangerous elements in the community, because they kill the hope of a people. It's like a pastor. Before you go to church on Sunday, you're ready to go to the streets. Let's do something organized. Not reactionary, but progressive. But then you go to church and for 2 hours you hear about how the Lord got it. This is a plan to all this. None of this is about coincidence. And all you have to do is pray and keep your faith and give tithes, and everything will go back to normal. So by the time you leave church, you done bought into that propaganda that says I don't need to do nothing to change my condition except increase my faith and pray a little bit more. So the problem is you got different messages from different camps telling us how to solve our problems. You got the pastor saying you can fix the black situation through prayer. I've had pastors and imams, so when I speak of church, not just the Christian church, but all the religions, who I've seen tell black people that the only reason why we're in the condition we're in ain't got nothing to do with white supremacy or none of that, is because we lost our way back to Jesus or we lost our way back to Muhammad. The danger in that message is that it totally obliterates the role of white supremacy in the conditions that we have. It also suggests what? It also suggests the main message of white supremacy, which is what? The white man is godly. See, if I'm on the bottom because I've done something wrong, that automatically concludes that he's on the top because he does something right. So for you to say that, you're making the same argument that the white man makes himself, which is I'm in control because God put me there. And when you say black people are not in control because of a curse, you're saying white people are in control because of God's blessing. So you're actually co-signing the very essential religious message of white supremacy in the first place.
What are their main concerns when you talk to the youth? What do they want, you know, adults, their parents, the community to know?
I mean, fundamentally, you're looking at a generation of folks who have been stripped of their humanity. Okay? So, not having a human soul, you find yourself exploring undeveloped ways. As Dr. Umar just talked about, you know, you have a Jay-Z who's now been put in your face. You have a 50 Cent who's now been put in your face, and et cetera, et cetera. So you look at this bourgeois class of individuals who's capturing the imagination of young folks. And so who has no principles, who has no values. So the method or the route for success is destruction of us. It's coming out of self-hatred, which is the stepchild of white supremacy. So when we look at the black family, the black community, we have to look at it as a black army. Simple as that. And so the recruitment of black youth is to serve that black army, to protect that black army. So understanding our responsibility and our obligation, they're getting that education from the enemy, in the sense of where it's being acted out in gangs, being acted out and selling dope, which is all bastard version of capitalism. Individual in its raw and realist form. So, but until we can create a vehicle, a social movement that's capturing their imagination, that's educating them of their self-worth. Poverty has never been an excuse to behave poorly for black folks until in the most recent times. When you look at rapes, here in Detroit, we've had gentlemen that have broken in elders' houses and raped them. And that's a psychological issue. But not looking at the psychological breakup of the social mass of stripping us of who we are in a way we've never seen. We're worse off now than we've been in a long time. But we put the foot of that at the youth. How can you blame a youth for not being socially responsible in regards to the parents, the adults, the pastors, the other institutions that has failed them? And they failed them because we don't want to call it what it is. This is white supremacy. This is oppression. Like the conversation now around mass incarceration, prisoner pipelines, all these nice sayings or these quotes that we use, but we're not talking about black oppression that gave birth to the prisoner pipeline, that gave birth to mass incarceration. Because if you end mass incarceration but don't end black oppression, how have you solved the problem? So when you look at integration versus independence, we've integrated, but do we have independence of ourselves? So what have our youth really inherited? They've inherited oppression, and they're acting out as the oppressors. But when we look at liberation, though, is this about liberating our communities? Is this about feeding our families? Is this about sacrificing, making sure our children are really being educated? We have an NAACP here in Detroit that ain't done nothing. You have Malik Shabazz that's supporting a white man for mayor, supporting Mike Duggan. So again, we have to hide these contradictions. We have to call these individuals to the carpet, and calling them to the carpet again, we have to organize ourselves. Those individuals like-minded who are standing on the forces of liberation, of self-determination.
That's right.
When we look at electoral politics, when have that became the end all for our solution? And that's what we
never got nothing to do that.
Right. So we really fooled ourselves, in particular when we elected Barack Obama the first time. So even here in Detroit, when Coleman Young and all his greatness, we still holding on to like Coleman's going to come back and save us as the mayor. The reality that system is what it was. Even for myself, when I was talking about running for city council, I don't believe change comes out of that, but I understand that it's we use strategy to use that to educate the people to what's really going on. So we have to have create programs with the People Survival Program every month that we do. So giving people outlets to get involved, but also we have to have analysis. How many of us want to take the time to study? Because the thing that we're talking about is nothing that we're coming up with. This is historically part of who we are. And we're continuing a legacy from 1619 on now, particularly on the soil of America, of engaging in a war. Let's be clear, we're talking about a war for our lives. A war for our lives of our children, or for our women, for our families, that we have to fight every day if we want to survive, to live it.
The thing about it is we don't have numbers to back up our demands. We never do. You put demands on Obama, where's the numbers? Demands on your mayor, where's the number? You got to walk into a city and you have to show power. You can't just tell me, you got to show power. You got to walk into the city council meeting, the public hearing, 500 strong, and say, here's the platform, and everybody here together, everybody with the same shirt, same button. You got to show your power. Same thing, somebody's running for city council, they having a public town hall meeting. Y'all going to show up 500 strong with some symbolism that y'all all together. You understand? And give them the platform. Once they see the power, then they will do something. But here's the thing, and we got to be honest now. Black people don't have that type of stickability. Can we get it back? Yeah. But it's going to take a lot of hard work. And the other thing we got to stop doing, we got to stop trying to organize black people through social media. That's lazy. You got to do what the Jehovah's Witnesses do. And get your ass out on the street and knock on people's doors.
Yeah.
Get some doors slammed on your face. If you notice, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they never had an issue getting people out to their meetings. They've never had a dip in membership. You know why? Because they street campaign. It is in your face, it is very personable, and it is hard to say no to them because they're not hitting you up through email. We've gotten lazy, y'all. Think about it, the way Garvey organized them, Mr. Muhammad and Huey and them. They didn't organize through internet because there wasn't one. There wasn't even a TV back then. Not in Garvey day. They had to go door to door. We got to do the same thing again. Let black people see you. Let them feel the energy. That's what we got to start doing. Can I come into your house for a few minutes and tell you about what we're working on? You got kids, okay? Or you having issues with any of your kids? Find something that is relevant to them, and that's how you pull them in. Getting black people interested in black issues just because they're black ain't enough no more, because we ain't got no self-love. There's no more cultural continuity. You got to find, okay, they got somebody in jail. This one is unemployed. This one is homeless. You look at something that's relevant to them, and that's how you suck them in. Okay, you homeless? Well, guess what? We trying to get something done about the homeless people. You unemployed? We trying to do something about black unemployed. It just can't be about blackness, because we ain't got that type of pride no more. It got the hook on to something that's relevant to them. But if you get the numbers, you can get them to do anything you want. The problem is getting the numbers and keeping the numbers. Because, I mean, let's be honest. You got elected officials who pay people to vote for them, and it's totally legal. You can walk up to somebody and say, I got $5. I've seen this. It ain't even got to be a lot of money. I got $5. All you got to do is go in there and cast that vote. It's $5 to be waiting. And that's low end. That's low end. You got candidates who will pay people $20, $50, $100 bills for $100 bill for a vote. So you got to make sure you got people who are committed. And the last thing I'll say to that is this right here. Who stands to lose the most by just a small percentage of black Detroit getting organized? Just a small percentage. If y'all got 500 people together, that's significant. Just 500. Who stands to lose the most from 500 blacks in Detroit being politically organized? The black elected officials. More than the white ones. Let me tell you why. Because the white ones got a white constituency, a Latino constituency, small little Asian Arab storekeeper shop owner constituency, and they got enough bougie blacks that can probably carry them. It is the black elected official whose power base is what? Y'all, the black vote. So if you got organized, do you know what you forced them to do?
Act right.
You forced them to go to war with the white people who they have befriended in office. Think about it, y'all.
Right,
I'm on city council. All y'all white folk, I'm rubbing shoulders with y'all like crazy every day. We buddies. But I just heard that the blacks in my district just got organized. And they telling me that I got to do some things that's against y'all policy. I'm terrorized. I'm scared as hell. Because I now got to go to work tomorrow and fight the crackers who I'm riding with, because the people in my community said we've had enough. The black politician is more afraid of black organization than the white.
It's the city 85% black. How many of us really understand what does that mean? In particular, you look at the historical context of going into the 80s, where you got all black politicians, all black police officers, etc., etc. But we have to truly analyze that. Was that successful? Did we fail? How did that impact our community? Again, because the reality, we're talking about folks who are coming out in our community to now trying to get us to elect them. So the way the media now has badgered us in the wake of Kwame, etc., saying black leadership has failed. So when black leadership failed, gives the opportunity for a Mike Duggan to slide in. So you look at the psychological warfare that's being played. Then, as my brother talked about earlier, when you look at supposedly this revolutionary, this is where Malik comes in.
Exactly.
So let me attach myself to this grassroots person who really has no credibility, but based upon the appearance,
right.
Red, black, and green, say he has to be something cool. But again, so we have to be clear and look at this from a strategical standpoint and break this down. How does it impact the cats on the corner? Because the cats on the corner, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about who's elected, who's the mayor. You ask them, when the last mayor election was ran. I mean, these are true conversations when you have them, because they on straight survival mode and looking at us as meat. And we have to begin to organize them. That's that power base. That's what made you and them so significant. That's what made Garvey and them so significant, because they was able to reach those disorganized individuals that had the spirit, that had the passion. We fail because we don't have clear leadership that's not based upon people. We have leadership based upon individuals who want to be popular, who want to be next to Hugh Perkins and all these individuals and the accolades, but at the expense of the people. So we have to be clear. So when we talk about black issue, it's by a byproduct of racism, white supremacy. It's no mistake about it. So when you talk about issues that facing black people, you have to come and look at what black people are going through. So we have to have a black agenda. It's no question about it. If we're talking about a city is 85% black, so that's why I can't comprehend you talking about a motherfucker like Duggan coming to Detroit. The city's 85. No, I'm not talking to you per se. I'm talking people in general. In particular, you got black people, and historically, that's psychological warfare.
Yes.
Historically, that's self-hatred. Yes. That has continued to surface. So you telling me out of 700,000 black people that we don't have one that we can elect? Yes. That's deserving?
Not that's been chosen.
That's what you're telling me. And so again, we have to really cut through this and call it what it is. If you're a white person that really care, then it's racism. When you look at, it was a Kmart's here. It left. There was a Farmer Jackson, but it left.
Right.
I mean, we can't continue to look. We see what downtown has become. We see what Midtown has become. What about the neighborhoods where the people are suffering, where the people are oppressed, where the people are surviving in hopelessness and helplessness every day? And when we come to these stores, they're looking at you as a meal. Looking at you, so we're fighting against each other because the cities have become up a dried up lake, and we turned on each other out of survival because we're not fighting against our oppressors.